A Night's War is a 2025 dark fantasy horror film directed, written, and featuring Matthew Ninneber. At least it's not starring him, though it might be starring his brother. This tale of Souls-like, roguelike horror follows our knight in shining armor, Bodhi, played by Jeremy Ninneber, who must journey into hell to save the soul of a prophesized woman named Avalon. Trapped on the other side, his only salvation is to defeat the lords of the realm before they kill him, taking away his 100 lives, thus trapping him inside forever.
This will allow you to die 100 deaths.
I'll be honest, I'm just happy to have another stab at less comedy fantasy that might also have something of a budget. This film is brought to us by Dread, which has a ton of misses, but there's always a chance that something good can come out. Yeah, my cup's half full. Why do you ask? So let's get tortured by two goth mamas. This is A Night's War. We open with a brief text fade that informs us about a chosen one with red hair who will not be burned by fire. For some reason, the gods went, "Fuck that," and told everyone to burn the bitch. Why, I have no clue, but Troy started because three goddesses bickered over an apple. Women. Speaking of women, here's two being burned alive, and shocker, one is a little less crispy at the end of it. But that was all just a dream, as our boy is with his bro, William, played by Matthew Ninneber, who is very curious about what the dream was.
I dreamt I was with three women, and they all wanted me at the same time, but I couldn't decide which one to please first.
Also, side note, I just want to say I own that exact piece of armor. You get it from Cult of Athena too. Together, they've been scouting some group, and know something is going down tonight. So, son, go inform the main force of what is happening here.
You blindly believe in people, and you don't believe in them at all.
The dialogue can be a bit off, but nothing super bad. Not as bad as Avalon, played by Christine Castor, who is getting down with the cultist group. Funny enough, I think these three love working together, as they all participate on other films like Death Valley. Also, if Matthew Ninneber sounds familiar, he played Psycho Goreman in the film of the same name. I can't say if that film is good or not, but I do know it stirred up a bit of a buzz a few years back. Finding the cultist group, they are in the process of sacrificing themselves in preparation. Preparation for what exactly?
They are killing themselves for demons.
Luckily, rituals have to be all thematic, giving our duo time to rush in and hack away at the priest. I especially love how Bodhi just rams into the only armored enemy here. Honestly, their fight is pretty good, and while it has one moment of strange editing, I think it's a well done fight scene between the two of them. And they keep their helmets on. One oddity that shows a limitation of the budget is how William goes to explore, but I swear he walked through and then out of the same set of doors, where the film is trying to make it look like two different sets at opposite ends of a hallway. Still, they have threats outside and in. Well, that's nightmare-inducing. Should we get her away from? God damn it! So what now, brother?
I know.
Demons are eating good tonight. Not sure how he got separated from that blood chick, but now he's talking with Shane Nicely, playing the Keeper, who is rather nicely gifting our hero a means to survive. In exchange for passage into the human world, once Bodhi manages to somehow kill, 3 demon lords.
3 lords hold 3 stones.
You know, I recall the task used to be just ringing a bell. Something our chosen sacrifice has already left to achieve. I'll be honest, this is the most straightforward Souls-like dialogue I've ever heard.
I'll allow you passage through the gate with us.
A fine bargain.
Getting teleported from the asylum, the Firelink Shrine, our hero has aggroed an NPC. Despite having a clear strength advantage, he is lacking in perception. While conversating, it becomes clear this woman is the chosen one, despite her disbelief and statement of not wanting to help man.
I think mankind refers to women as well.
Well, hey, we learned that both carry the Keeper's talisman. You'd think he's handing out candy. We also learned that time moves differently here, as mere moments outside can be years inside. Finally, don't remove the talisman or Big Bad Invoker will summon you. Nothing putting the talisman back on won't fix. Also, the witches are coming to fuck us up, so come nightfall, the witches show up to fuck us up. It was rather difficult to tell who played the witches, but I think it's Christine McCulloch and Sasha Ormond.
Blood, suffering, pain.
Not only are they fast, but they're also resistant to physical hits if they can pull out some magic. So outmatched and alone, Bodhi attempts to retreat but is ultimately taken down. Meanwhile, Avalon moves in to get the stone, and hey, this roleplay doesn't look half bad. Oof. Bodhi better remember the safe word. Or not, as Avalon manages to get the stone, but not for long, and when confronted, takes the easy way out. Yeah, a slight problem with this film is how bad some of the effects are. There's good ones in the film, like with the armor, but that is clearly rubber put on her neck to the point it's not the same shade at all, and you can clearly see where the seams are. Even worse is when we see Bodhi's fate. I mean, come on, guys. I can play along, but it's just so rubbery looking and doesn't match at all. Though YouTube will probably still think this is live leak footage, follow me on Rumble or one of my other alts. Also, I love how they never removed the talisman. I suppose that could either be because death is permanent here, or they simply don't want him taken by the Invoker.
I felt them drinking my pain.
Yeah, our duo isn't completely cohesive, and it's revealed that Avalon wasn't captured, but instead chose to go with the cultist, believing they'd help her. How, I'm not sure. Being sacrificed and sent to hell by a bunch of blood ritual cultists typically isn't the best source of help. Right next to WebMD.
I have come for the stone.
What follows is a montage of battle and one-sided death, complete with bickering and a pinch of betrayal.
Who's early now?
Honestly, it becomes downright comedy until finally a blow is scored, and it's revealed they share wounds. And what's more,
You cannot see.
so through the power of wind chimes, our duo moves in, masking their natural sounds. Though one does sacrifice himself, a killing blow is achieved. While Avalon grabs the stone, Bodhi gets visited by Lilith, played by Rachel Fisher, who we'll see more of later. Also, the Keeper wants to have a little chat. Look, man, is there a bell or something you want me to ring? Also, this asylum might be doubling as the Firelink Shrine, as Avalon is resting here via a nice bath, just not in water.
These are the tears of the tormented.
So in hell, tears are flammable. Alright, that oddity out of the way, we learn that Avalon is here for a weapon. A weapon that grants the power of the gods. But why does she want it?
Revenge.
Well, moving on from that, we learn from the Keeper that since they took out the first boss, PvP is now enabled. At least they have the choice of a longer icy mountain or a shorter demon-infested path. The longer path it is, and almost immediately they come across an invader, the barbarian played by Matt Daki, who was also in Death Valley. Was that film just made with the same crew? Also, you may recognize him from earlier, and yes, he is pissed about that. Though he was working with demon cultists, not sure what he was expecting. Funny thing is that he clearly took the same deal and thus could have been an ally instead. Oh well, express delivery to the Invoker. Well, journeying on, we learn the revenge Avalon wishes is against the Night's god, or gods referred to as the Light, mainly because of all the suffering she's endured. Speaking of endured, Bodhi has to endure the psychological horror of the woods, which taunt him.
Bodhi. There's nothing there.
Eventually driving him to insist on taking the quicker, demon-infested path. Checking scoreboard from the witches, I think the mental damage is worth tanking. Not as Avalon is helping much as she keeps digging about him being betrayed by William. Bodhi hits back, calling out her daddy issues. Well, that CGI just left him open to judgment time. The Invoker, played by Matthew Ninneber. Dude was really all over this movie. Anyways, he has a cool Zwinehander and isn't afraid to beat around our duo.
The wound will consume her.
So now we're pulling a little from Hellblade, huh? Still need to play the sequel. Nothing a little cuddling and visit from Lilith won't fix, but gossip is gonna gossip, and their pact with the Keeper only allows 2 through the gate. Offering him herself, the sword, and with it ultimate power to control and shape the world, he refuses, defying her.
Have it your way.
Yeah, she's weirdly chill about the whole thing, which is a surprise, but okay. Not gonna lie, between the sadomasochistic goth chicks and bath time with Lilith, the place isn't all that bad. She even cures Avalon, who is guilt-tripped by Bodhi, who eventually calls out her revenge. Wanting to face the final lord by himself, he gives her the second stone as a sign of trust and marches off. Dick move. One that doesn't work out for Avalon, as in visions, Bodhi sees her getting her ass whooped. Digging up one last bit of faith, he tears off the talisman to face the Invoker, who not only reveals he isn't the Invoker, but offers Bodhi a way out.
She conspired with demons to free the fallen.
wait, Fallen. Did Matthew Ninneber play Lords of the Fallen? I don't think that's the story of those games, but still, it's a funny coincidence. So they do battle. Now the boss has upgraded to Shao Kahn's hammer and isn't afraid to pull some dirty tactics. I actually like how he admits this is just his job.
I take no joy in your destruction.
During the fight, one of the chains holding Avalon breaks and she's able to distract the boss while Bodhi gets in a backstab. This really is a Souls-like. Did we ever explain where the magic comes from? Honestly, I don't even know why the world needs a chosen one. They never establish what the threat is. Anyways, howdy, Keeper and Avalon. Oh look, a sword in the stone.
I fed your brother and your father. Stories of the prophecy.
Yeah, so the prophecy was a bunch of bullshit, and William was the target. Well, reach out to the last bit of humanity in Avalon. Bodhi offers to stay behind, which compels her not to draw the sword, much to the anger of the Keeper. Using Avalon's motherish trickery, it leaves the Keeper open to Bodhi. He really needs to find better material for those talismans. Now trying to cure up Bodhi, and I'm not sure if he's also Lilith or she's just here now, it's revealed the Keeper tricked Avalon's father into burning his wife and daughter. And the impression he gives is probably the second most unintentionally hilarious part of this film.
Witch! Ah! Those are my words!
So Avalon chokes the life out of him, and then he is burned. Now back together, the trio stands ready to meet the remaining cultists coming to kill them. Whatever happened to their backup? Fucking film ends here. Being released February 7th, 2025 in France for a limited theatrical run, it so far has its latest release stateside, April 15th, 2025. Worldwide, it was released under the title A Knight's War, terrible as that name is, and while I could not find a budget, the agreed upon figure generally was on the lower side, which I think they managed to pull off rather well. I think the most notable information fun fact I found was that the sets were apparently made in the director's backyard. How serious that statement was, I'm not sure. Overall, I would suggest this film if you're a fan of dark fantasy or hell, just want some sort of fantasy that is an action comedy. No hate on the latest Dungeons & Dragons film, but it was weighing too much towards being a comedy for me. The story concept is even pretty good, and I fully believe Ninneber was influenced by some of the Souls-like games. While the armor and swords used were oddly familiar to me with my interest in Cult of Athena, I still found them to be quality, and I rather enjoyed that they actually bothered wearing their armor, including a helmet. Even when stripped down so he could run better, he kept his mail on. That said, the story does lack, and the dialogue does not help either. I feel like a touch-up could have made moments flow better, and maybe better direction would have helped the dialogue come off less stilted. Still, it's far from the worst. I stand by, though, that the effects are a mixed bag. I feel like whatever budget they had really went into the first half. More gore, and even the witches came off with better effects. Save for the two examples I brought up earlier, which just did not look right. Past the halfway point, there's an immediate lack of effects being used. The final boss is cool, but looks rather rubbery and fake. His mouth not moving and without lips, I think is meant to be a hellish and imposing visage, but comes off like a Halloween mask spruced up with a skull helm. Going back to the writing, I also feel like we're dropped in with so little information about the world. No, I don't need to know why the curtains are blue, but some reasoning for why they even need a chosen one would be appreciated. So it's all being orchestrated by a demon, which I imagine the cult were in cahoots with. Okay, but why is Avalon fire retardant and capable of employing magic? Lingering questions that are never really brought up or answered. Also, if our starting duo is following the god of light to save the girl, then who were the supposed gods ordering the burning of those who fit the description? Yes, I know it was the demon, but what gods were they thinking were talking to them? Did the father not stick around to witness his daughter and mother burn? The bit we saw earlier was a dream of our hero. Like I said, the film isn't perfect and has more than enough flaws, but it's also kind of refreshing given the current landscape of films. I can see this being a decent B-movie that may gain a small following, as Psycho Goreman did. If you want a movie to kill some time or simply find yourself needing some alright dark fantasy, give this a watch. Or try to find two goth sadists, whatever tickles your fancy.
The longer we wait, the less there'll be to fight.